Where are we on this so-called ambition, action, and impact spectrum? What solutions can we offer to countries struggling to cope with the impacts of climate change and mounting debt, and the practical needs when one considers some of the trade-offs that need to be made over the coming years? What are the innovative partnerships emerging between the insurance industry and the public sector that shed light on how we can begin to reach those who need protection, but for whom these solutions are often and increasingly out of reach?
We have done a lot as a global community and as IDF. I think the challenge that we face is that we're going to still need to do more, right? In light of the direction in which things are taking. Should be happy with respect to what we did, but as Veronica said, we really can't sit on our laurels. There's a lot more to be done by virtue of what we see as an aggravating situation. Sorry, I don't mean to be a downer, but I think there's a lot that still needs to be done by all of us.
A very important dimension. Otherwise, 10 years from now, maybe we have 200 projects, but we could have had 2,000. And I know the scale sounds ridiculous. I know Julian will say, Guy Carpenter's not going to do 2,000 projects, for no remuneration. I get that. But here is maybe the carrot at the end of all of this. If we do, and maybe out of those 2,000 projects, we have 1,800 that actually stick around, we have the impact, and we've created markets where markets did not exist.
We now need to recommit and everybody, to making risk-informed decisions, but it's not easy because just raw data there is not going to help the people, not even the national government, and least in the communities. So we need, as I said, really accessible, interoperable, available, and easy understandable data, which your community has.
So we encourage this type of collaboration and coordination. I believe that the Insurance Development Forum is an excellent platform for promoting this type of new collaborative and cooperative approach.
That the expertise of the insurance industry, but also the risk capital of the insurance industry, is going to make a really big difference here and really help us get to the scale and impact that we want to see.
With 190 million beneficiaries, it looks like a large number, but looking at the numbers that Nicola has presented, it's just a drop of cold water on a hot stone.
Having that demand side be part of the discussion is so important. You can build anything. You can build products. You can build tools. If nobody wants it, then why? It's a complete waste of time. We've actually got a very definitive demonstration of desire for this vehicle.
The real challenge now is to get that information into the decision-making gearbox of law, of policy, of finance, of all sorts of sectors which you're all experts in. And that's actually the expertise that needs to be brought to bear.
Are we ensuring that we're joining up effectively across our shared climate goals? I think the idea of partnerships came out again. This is a truly PPP sort of model that we're going for, but are we doing it as effectively as possible? So there's going to be some uncomfortable questions on that.
Lots of numbers have been thrown out around the size of the protection gap, which has grown to $1.24 trillion. And that's especially pressing in the developing world, where estimates of more than 80% of the world's most food insecure people are prone to natural hazards.
So my hope is that the Global Shield is going to be able to go even further to really reach the breadth and scale that's needed. Because I think, when I've looked it up, it was a $1.4 trillion protection gap, thanks to Swiss calculations. I think Veronica had said it, it's all hands on deck. It's public sector, but Global Shield on speed. We need it 10 times bigger than it currently is being financed.
So it's not just about the sovereign solutions, if you like, but actually about everyday experiences of risk and what that means to your family, to your community, and to your business. That's where we must indeed see insurance market development, because not all solutions can be sovereign.
With the classical story, invest before instead of after. Invest before, what does it mean? Invest in infrastructure. I know it's much easier to get money when you show disasters, but it would be so much mature to prevent the disasters.
agriculture insurance is so valuable, but we have to communicate to the government and farmers. Actually, huge disaster, natural disaster in the ground, agriculture is damaged, and then the fact said that the suicide rate of farmers is highly up. So this is not only crop issue, but the human protection of human life issue. Mm-hmm. So fact is so clear that insurance is so valuable. But for example, seed-drift context, when we communicate with the insurance government, in country, they say this year we have no payout. So next year, when we face renewal, why do we pay premium? That's a kind of understanding of the government. So we have to communicate clearly what's the value of insurance.
The majority of the regulators on this planet on financial services are bankers. Mm-hmm. So there is an enormous misunderstanding about what insurance can bring. But that's our fault. I do not criticize anybody. That's just make sure that people do understand what we do and what is the added value that we bring, and get off from our caves.
We started years ago creating this unit that we call Resilience Services, which is helping clients to prevent, to anticipate, to prepare, to mitigate the impact more than paying a claim. Because we really believe that this is what you need to do now.
We are trying to bring institutions, for example, the United Nations, the World Bank and others, perhaps could offer a portal where we could raise these issues, as Yoshi had mentioned yesterday in the conversations with the G7. The reality is that we are seeing lots of risks, lots of impact, so we need to take these issues more seriously. So I also think there's also a challenge, right, to the industry in terms of, we see this, but our response cannot also be silence or not really engaging, right? So I do think that, it's an opportunity, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity also in the long-term interest for the industry and for society to tackle that.
So there is $150 trillion that are committed to net zero at this point. And we need currently somewhere above $300 billion a year to build adaptive infrastructure globally. I believe that goes by 2050 to about 500 billion per year. If only a portion of those dollars that were aimed towards net zero were focused on adaptation, we would be able to make a substantive difference in terms of reducing risk and making our communities more resilient.
We need more precise metrics that show us what is the impact or result in investing in adaptation and resilience. And of course, there's at the next COP, we are supposed to reach the goal for adaptation, and hopefully this will help. But once this is done, and we need your industry support in this, I believe that we can have more, hopefully, investment in resilience, in adaptation.
One perception that I have seen throughout the years, that as soon as you want to bring the private sector as a facilitator, an enabler into the whole concept, people start to become a little bit uncomfortable. Either because they fear that, for instance, the impact of the climate crisis should be paid for by those that have provoked these increasing CO2 emissions, so there's a responsibility that's outside their own individual space, or they think, it's better if the government takes care of it. And of course, this goes beyond actually possibilities and wouldn't be efficient. So when you bring in the private sector, the industry, as I said, you create a completely new environment and incentive system.
I do see this as an opportunity, and I see it as a possibility to make real and meaningful change. And for all of us here in this room to leave an incredible legacy.
If we're going to have transformational change, to have better outcomes and greater response, I would also encourage the industry to invest across the entire risk financing spectrum. Therefore, participating not only in the risk transfer instruments, but together as a sector, invest in today's building of overall climate resilience.
We will be putting an early warning system for heat and other into the WhatsApp chat, so they have some some notice and they can get ready. They can rearrange what they're going to do. They can do different things with their kids. They can change what they're going to do during the day. And then the last piece is that financial inclusion piece, that everybody in the program has their own bank account. And so none of this is possible without their partnership and their trust in that network of the Self-Employed Women's Association.
The North-South divide is we're not in a good place. But I believe that platforms like this, right, where we have companies and leaders from developing countries, from different parts of the industry, these are the types of platforms that can bring us to solutions.
We risk it that all our development money goes into exposed reaction, and that's very inefficient. And we can't afford, nothing will be left for development. Therefore, it's so important to find more efficient approaches. And this has a lot to do with pre-arranged financing.
Trust is very much grounded in this instance in the quality of the information and the quality of the methodologies and the independence with which they're produced. And here I have to commend Nicola and Nick for the work they've done on GRMA and GRI. And I think maintaining the independence and the quality of what's produced in terms of methodologies and data will be key to the success of this public-private partnership. So that's something to maintain.
This collaboration between the IDF, BMZ and the United Nations Development Programme has already advanced 22 projects, everywhere from Ghana to Mexico. Through this work, it is estimated that some 64 million people worldwide will benefit from risk financing. This is a key component of the Insure Resilience vision that provides 500 million people globally with protection from climate and disaster risks by 2025. That is our aspiration.
Our ultimate task will be our ability to proactively be part of the solution through developing and implementing solutions to this real world concern that we are witnessing. This holds true through the IDF and also through our institution. We will need to be bolder, more innovative and open in our approach. Our call to action for this summit of ambition, action and impact should be used as guiding forces as we consider these 4 areas where I believe there is a considerable amount that we can do together.